you on fire to feel the burn of desires all around him.
Alright, how's it going, everybody? It is Sandwhichpants here today. Not really gonna do this long intro while waiting for people to show up kind of thing. Don't really have the patience today. What I do want to do... A, I want to light this thing. E, we're gonna go over some stuff. Alright? Is that cool? Because I spent the entire day listening to a Supreme Court case as much as I could. Like, everything that all the work that I did today, got to work, yeah, started the YouTube thing. It's in here. Where is it? Right here. PBS NewsHour. Supreme Court hears oral arguments over free speech rights. Yeah, I got to work. I been and did everything. Yeah, listened to the whole thing. There hasn't been a decision made yet, but we're gonna get into that. But first, let's go over what Kyle says the best thing Biden has done. Okay. I do want to mention, real quick, I am disappointed that there wasn't a harder fight over the 15, but I still don't see a way that we necessarily could have won it. There are too many people in Congress who oppose this kind of thing. Even people who have a higher minimum wage for their state. What is... Excuse me. What it seems like Biden is trying to do here, I don't know for certain, but it seems like Biden is trying to put the impetus on, hey, federal employees are just going to get paid minimum wage of $15 an hour. which is that's actually really good for federal employees. Just ooh. Yes, it actually is really good for them. Uh, if there was like an expansion on a or like a jobs program to be a federal employee, that would be a thing. One that wasn't the military. Let's face it. That's that's amazing for those 390,000 people. It really is. Like that is not sarcasm, that is not me throwing shade. It's amazing for them to get an increase from like 1095 to 15 over the next 3 years. That's great. It's not enough for me though. We need more for more people. Yep. True. Yeah, Kyle's hey, he's super honest here. I mean, Kyle's super honest a lot of the time on like expressing himself. I don't always agree with his assessment of things, but he is very honest. True. Yep. Fucking based answer from Biden. All right. That okay. I called it. I didn't even have to get to the rest of the segment that Kyle's going over here to call it. All right. Biden's plan here is to put pressure because he's showing like, hey, you all didn't want to pass my $15 an hour minimum wage thing. I'm gonna do it unilaterally for federal employees. And guess what? It's not gonna cast you anything. Not it's not because they'll have more money. It'll boost the economy. Things will be better. All right? So just increase the minimum wage. That's super gangster. It really is. All right. I know I'm white as fuck, but it is a really really strong move from Biden on that regard. Like it doesn't seem like it because it's like, oh, he said a statement and he did a thing for federal employees. How is that very strong? They're people who work pretty much for him and for the federal government. Well, as Kyle's kind of explaining, and as I've explained, when you show them how it can work and how it can improve the economy, it'll put the impetus on hell. It'll actually put some pressure on the businesses themselves to either raise their minimum wage themselves, like increase wages, or to put a little bit of additional pressure from the corporate side onto uh, politicians who are holding out. On top of the politicians just seeing it work and feeling the public pressure. Like if you get pressure on them from multiple sides, although businesses will never do it, let's face it, okay? I know, businesses will never do it. But if there's enough public pressure, then the businesses don't get what they want. But it does put pressure. Now, speaking on minimum wage, before we actually get to the main segment, we got some years here. Oh, and I should probably. That's going to be a lot harder. We'll just put this at. Okay. I, I, I'm not going to take the time to do the text and all the way down. I did it here. I'm not doing it here. Okay. You seen it. So, Biden's plan will represent that in this blue. Biden's plan was to have things go up and stop here, right? 2025, $15 an hour minimum wage. Yeah? Here's the sandwich pants method, okay? We're going to use the commie red, okay? You start here and you go boom, boom, and then you kind of plateau it off to where at 2025 you're at 20, and then 2027 you're at 25. That's the sandwich pants method, okay? Beautiful graph. It's a bit of a jump because 2022 you would be at 985, whereas it'd be 2023 for an 11, 2024, and 15 at 2025. That's Biden's like kind of plan. Set it to the Biden blue. I'm gonna. There we go. And then we got my plan, which is slightly faster. Goes a little bit longer to 2027, and then here it can continue up where at 2028 it's at like 27. So Yeah, this is tied to median wage here. But hey, what do you guys think? Pretty solid, right? I think so. Yeah, I don't see any. I don't know why. It kept telling me on my analytics thing that there were messages being sent, and I didn't really see any yesterday. I don't know. No, 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 Kyle. I think you're misinterpreting this. I think this is him showing. That's why he said what he did. Kyle, you yourself made a point, and it was solid. Biden said that it wasn't going to cost anything because when you help the people at the bottom, it has a ripple effect on the economy. It boosts the economy. See, people say the rising tide lifts all boats. The rising tide isn't the people who own the boats. The rich people, they're not the tide. The quote unquote rising tide would be for the masses. The people who actually do the work. So, that is I think this is an example of him trying. Now, I'm being very good faith and putting forth the best interpretation. This may be wishful thinking. Kyle is cynical. So he's saying that Biden gave up the fight. I think this is Biden's tactic to renew the fight for 15, which still isn't enough. But if you just took the language that you had in the relief bill for the $15 an hour minimum wage and you put that forth as a standalone, I think it would be different. I don't know why it keeps recommending me Destiny videos. True. Yep. Yep. This is true. Okay. That is good. I'm a little curious on this one. But yeah, do we want to you know what do we want to do this after the main segment or before the main segment? Uh I didn't call it. Okay. We'll do Tails is after the main segment, which is the free speech segment. So, Tails is that. After. Okay. The main segment was. Damn it. I'm gonna find. That's red flag laws. We're not gonna watch the whole thing. Okay, so I do want to, and this is like the U.S. Supreme Court, not like the Michigan Supreme Court or anything like that. No, 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 no. Like Justice Kavanaugh, Justice Sotomayor. Just keep that in mind. This is like the actual Supreme Court. The court case, in particular, being used here as an example, is a person was apparently like on cheer. There was an off season. They weren't even in school at the time. They criticized the school that they went to in a Snapchat or whatever, and said that they like hated the cheer team. Kind of as a broad thing, and so she got suspended from the cheer team and sued. And this has gone all the way up to the fucking Supreme Court as a free speech issue. No verdict was made, but deliberation is being done. Okay. Um, this is the audio quality is really kind of poor, but like Okay. Um, After reading over Tinker, I understand now why I got in trouble for so many different things in school, and also I think it's complete bullshit. Okay? Students plan to wear black armbands at school as a silent protest against Vietnam. Fucking armbands are not a distraction. Do you know how many armbands I wore in school? Because it obviously isn't a distraction. It's a silent protest. But how? How? Damn. See? Straight even acknowledged it. Okay, so I've been looking into uh more about like school hierarchy and stuff because I'm an anarchist. It's a hierarchy that needs to be examined. Anyways, the thing that I've come to determine is that I don't think students should be forced to go to classes and be under the rule of a teacher. I think if a student wants to go and needs to learn from a person, then that could be useful, but I don't think that they should be forced to go to a classroom. Maybe be told that they need to show up once every couple of weeks to take a quiz over the material, but I don't know. I think teachers would be better suited if they were dealing with smaller amounts of kids, and that'd be the ones that wanted to go to the classroom. And personally, college is a lot more lenient and super lax on shit. Your teacher's not going to be some authoritarian dick, at least not in my experience. I only went to a semester, but everything was super chill. If I didn't show up for a class, it didn't really count against me, except for one of my classes. But that one was it was super hands on. It was music theory. I only had to show up when there were tests scheduled, but music theory, I had to, like, do things. Government, not so much. I didn't have to show up. He straight up said I didn't have to as long as I came in and took the tests that were posted on the schedule. Cool. I showed up to those classes, though. That teacher was great. He was funny as hell, I'll tell you that. Anyways, back to this. As far as free speech goes, I forgot to do a thing. So, Supreme Court has been, well, was 7 hours ago, listening to arguments over a case that was brought to them because a girl in cheer hated the coach, like did not like their coach, had some words to say about him, did not like their school, and did not like some of the people in cheer. They were frustrated, and so they were like Snapchatting friends or whatever, and they were talking about how the school is shit, essentially, and how they didn't like these people. And it kind of got around to some of those people, I guess, or at least to the coaches or whatever, and they kicked her off of cheer, and she was punished for something that there were no terms agreed to about criticizing the coach or doing any of that stuff. None of that happened. They didn't make any contract over it. If she has criticisms, she has every right to voice them. So she got kicked off. I mean, and I say she has every right to voice criticisms without being punished, at least in that regard. But, so she sued, or the parents sued, I believe, and they're trying to argue that it's essentially whether Tinker applies or not. And the girl, like, sent the snaps in an off season, not on school grounds, like, not even in school. So, whatever. Tinker should be removed. And my plan for schools should also be implemented, because I don't know if it's actually my plan, but, Overall, I think, yeah, this shouldn't be an issue at all. It seems like the court seems to be incredulous that the school is trying to argue that they can punish the girl for doing something outside of school. That's I listened to this entire thing earlier. The whole thing. Got all the way to here. And because they ended like back here. Boom. Yeah, dude is absolutely right. I mean, there really shouldn't be any issue here. The girl criticized the school, she criticized the coach, and she criticized some of the people that she was in cheer with or whatever. And guess what? That's valid. That's perfectly okay. You're frustrated. You want to vent. You're sending stuff to your friends. Somehow, some of it gets to the coach or whatever. Whatever. The coach should take those criticisms into account. Should sit down and be like, "Hey, what are you having issues with?" Instead of being like, "Oh well, you're off the team." This this is absolutely stupid. Was completely unnecessary, honestly. Like none of this needs to happen. Tinker needs to be removed because it's causing shit like this, and hopefully this makes them reconsider the Tinker decision. So, I think honestly, there's not much to say about this. This is one of the shortest segments that I will probably ever put out, and it'll probably be out in the next couple days. But, jeez, do we really have to go here? Like, people are expressing an opinion, okay? Now, I understand where the opinion can cross a certain line, but if it's not threats of violence, mostly mass threats of violence or harassment, if it was like repeated barrages of shit, then that would be one thing. But if you're just sending out snaps to your friends and you're like, I fucking hate this school. I really hate the coach. And I have a problem with these people in cheer or in class. You're venting. Are you going to punish somebody for expressing their emotions about other people that they actually have problems with? An institution that they truly have problems with? You're going to force them to stifle it and never tell their friends and never talk to people about it because the school is involved in the rhetoric only? What is this? I don't know. I don't know. This should be a slam dunk decision for the Supreme Court to go, what are you doing? You can't just. Fuck you. They should award the girl whatever she's on for, like whatever she's pressing for, and then just move on. Girl could fucking quit cheer. Or, I'm pretty sure it's a girl. Pretty sure they said she. If I'm wrong, then I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure they said she. So, if she if she has problems, like if she has problems and she wins the suit, which I think is a slam dunk, well, this should be a thing. Like this case should be easy. If there's any like monetary anything that has to be given, then I think I think it'd be perfectly fine and hilarious to be like, okay, and guess what? I still hate cheer. I'm leaving. I won the case. I was given the ability to get back onto the team. The coach was like, all right, you can be on the team. And you're just like, no, I do quit. The issue is that you were punishing me for expressing my opinion. I'm like, if that was literally it, that'd be fucking great. Like, no, you're trying to punish me for an opinion, not like I don't even want to be in the cheer team. I was gonna quit anyways because you guys suck. I was just venting to my friends and seeing if they think I should. So again, easy clap. This one's no probs. If they find anything other than that, the school is in the wrong here, then I'm very disappointed. Shouldn't be this difficult. Other courts have already said that the school doesn't have any jurisdiction there. They just couldn't handle it. So, fuck it. And she even said authoritarian. That was great. God, I am extraordinarily dubious and torn on the idea of red flag gun laws. Because people with depression, well, like a lot of suicides are done by handgun because it's just quick. However, it's not easy. It's not. As somebody with depression, I can tell you right now, I bitched out. So, torn on these kinds of things, to be honest. Ooh, wait a second. Hold on. Deliberate. I mean, I don't know about that. Because, well, okay. If somebody, if they know and are deliberately perpetuating a thing that's false, then I don't know. Because I don't deliberately try and perpetuate anything that I think is false. That's just kind of how that works. The the thing here is if a court would see if I notice somebody doing some Nazi shit, would they be able to sue me if they were able to disguise the fact that they were a Nazi? I don't know. I don't know what you guys think. What? I don't have any notifications. Ghetto stream rate is recommended. 128. I bet I have. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have like a shitload going on that. Hmm. I don't know. I think it's at 160 right now. That's the sample rate. Oh, yeah, 160. I should probably do something about that. Maybe later. It didn't seem to have any issues. I don't know. Have there been any like dropped audio bits? Like, I don't know. Has there been? Kind of see how much of a. Okay, so there's a few seconds delay on that. Let me guess. Yeah, of course. Kind of Hmm. I guess I don't know. We just need to hear what's going on. I okay. That would make sense. It would also reduce like gun deaths a lot, but I'd still have really big like I have major reservations about that. I don't know. Having people banned from being able to buy firearms based on their perceived mental health status. I mean, are you going to send them to mental health checks that is paid for not by them to find out? Like, are you going to have them interviewed by therapists and shit to find out if they're stable before they can buy a gun? Is that a thing? Because not only is the banning of firearm purchases something that I'm a little skeptical of in general, the method in which that would be implemented is hugely important. He's talking about having like warrants and petitions to get somebody removed. I mean, if a community petitioned to make sure that somebody couldn't have a firearm, then I would take that very fucking seriously. But having the police do independent investigations, why don't you send like therapists to find out if they're okay? You can prolong the time it takes for background check things, like before they can buy the gun, and you could do like a few therapy sessions so the therapist might be able to get a read. You can do different therapists. Who knows? I'm not the best at that kind of idea. I don't know a whole lot about therapy, at least how fast people can diagnose. Although my therapist did it pretty quick. She did it in like a couple sessions. So I think 2 or 3 sessions to be able to get a beat on if somebody's at least stable enough to own a firearm. And I mean, if they're having to go through a mental health check before they buy a firearm, then maybe they need to do follow-ups every once in a while for a few months, like 6 months, maybe. I don't know. Now, the way he was talking about with police doing independent investigations, I don't know about that. Okay, that's at least semi-reasonable. Yep. Okay. I mean, doing that everywhere would be smart. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so instead of removing people from their homes and stuff and putting them in like another location, you just remove the gun from the person. I mean, obviously, unless they're abusive, then you just remove the person. But if they're if they're just having like mental health crises and you just need to remove the gun from the home, I think that's fair. Not by the state though. I don't like the state doing it. I think if you encourage the ability for the spouse or whoever, like whoever your significant other is or whoever you live with to recognize mental health crises or for other people to be able to recognize health crises themselves or within themselves, notice when they're about to go into a fucking bad spiral and be able to remove the gun. Like it's there's a lot of things that could be done. I don't really like the state going in and being like, "Hey, we've gotten a lot of calls about you." Is it not playing any of this? Hello. It's really not playing any of this. Like at all. Let me, gotta see. Nope. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't. I really don't get it. Oh, is it because of that? Let's figure it out. Let's see. Nope. I I don't understand. I don't get it. I truly don't. I I truly don't understand what's going on here. It it doesn't make sense. I I truly don't. Okay, well, I think I need to have that one out. Dunno. I can't do videos, apparently. This entire thing has been mildly pointless. Been trying to listen to justices talk about stuff and all, and it's fucking useless. Because my Streamlabs doesn't want to output my goddamn desktop audio. Got the got the input, which is my microphone. And I've got this one, which is my microphone as well. See? I don't know why it has two for my microphones. It doesn't make sense. But I usually mute that one because I've got this one and it comes through just fine. And then I got the audio output capture, which is set to do the thing. So now I've got all of these. So, I'm not sure what the fuck is going on. I had something else I was going to talk about overall. Free speech, Destiny, Congress. Oh, yeah. Okay. I ended up talking about some Joe Biden stuff. Apparently, Biden is increasing federal workers' minimum wage to $15 an hour from 10.85 or 10.95. which is pretty fucking good, and I'm going to give him the that helps 390,000 people, as Kyle had pointed out. Now, my assessment of that, because the fucking first part of the stream, none of the shit played. But yeah, my current assessment of this is that Biden is potentially trying to use that to re-spark a push for a standalone $15 an hour bill in the Congress to try and show them, hey, it works, and we're not gonna like I'm doing it at least for I'm doing it unilaterally where I can. Now we need to get onto this. We need to get on this in the Senate. Yeah, see, it says the bit rate is low. Probably because my bit rate is fucking weird, but if y'all can hear me, this is fine. And I mean, yeah, see, y'all can hear me. It's fine. The thing that I'm very curious about, personally, is if we will get a standalone bill and if we can put pressure properly on Cinema and Mansion. They killed it last time. I'm pretty sure we might even be able to sway over some Republican senators if we do things right. However, it's going to be one hell of a fight because they can't do it through budget reconciliation. How? Like, how? I'm not even playing anything. The only thing that's happening is I'm talking. Is my voice cutting out? Is that what's happening? I can't change the audio stream bitrate yet because I'm streaming. Uh, it's what I'm hoping. Okay, let's get to the Congress section, right? What I'm hoping happens with this Biden executive order to increase the federal minimum or the federal employee contractor and tipped waged employees or that work for the federal government. They're federal employees. Hopefully the bill that or his executive order that raises their minimum wage to $15 an hour, regardless of if they're tipped or not. Hopefully that lights a fire. If it lights a fire under their ass to move Congress, especially the lefties in Congress, to start pushing $15 an hour minimum wage legislations into the floor. Now, what I want them to do, because I think this is a smarter strategy, okay? This is the Biden bill. By 2025, we get to $15 an hour. Decent. Not good enough. What you do is you go in with the Sandwhichpants plan, okay? You go in and by 2028, motherfuckers are making $27 an hour, and then at the time that it hits 20, you can put in there could be a provision that kicks in that will tie it to median wage. If median wage is higher than $25 an hour before 2025. So they'd be at 20 at 2025 instead of so if it goes above if the median wage goes above $25 an hour in like 2026 or 2027, then minimum wage would automatically rise. So you could go from 20 to like 22, 23 if median wage goes up enough, and then you can move it up to 27. And so by 2020, I mean, fun stuff. This is the Sandwhichpants plan. And this will get negotiated down. Now, let's mark things with the grim probabilities, alright? We'll use pink for the best case scenario. Outside of my plan. Best case scenario is it follows this trend. And then levels off. And this is where it gets tied to medium wage. Wait. Yeah, that's best case. We will use this blue because I find it ugly. I don't like the color blue very much. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck you. Eight. But probably pizza. At a point. So, the worst case is that we do this. I don't really foresee a situation where we don't get another minimum wage increase, but like at all over the next 7 years. Yeah, I don't foresee that. We'll use this color right here to indicate the thing that would be this right here will be what I think would happen with people negotiating the Biden plan down. $20.28, you're at a little over 11. You're like 12 something. I could see that. Now, the absolute sky in the pie. Pie in the sky? Yeah, I said that backwards. The absolute pie in the sky plan would be or the plan. I mean, this would be super awesome if it didn't have so many bad economic plans. We'll go with the dark gray for Brianna Joy Grays. That right there. That's Brianna Joy Gray's plan. So we have all these different economic, like, we have all these different ways that this could go. This is the absolute worst case. This is what I think will probably happen if they go with the Biden plan being presented. This is my projection right here for what I think would happen if they go in with my plan. Super cool, right? This would be the absolute most amazing thing that would happen that could potentially have bad economic consequences, but may not if done well. But that's a lot of an increase, 2021 to 2023, having it go from 725 to 25. That's a lot. Brianna Joy Gray's plan. And then this red one right here, this is the certified patented Sandwhichpants minimum wage increase plan. I think it would have the least negative economic consequences with the most increase in worker pay. Hopefully, I could pass that policy, this particular graph. Just somebody screenshot this and send it to AOC. He'll never understand. Uh, I need to make a. Wait, don't do it yet. Nah, 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 nah. I'm putting a color coordinator. Okay, so what we do here is we go. Fuck it. There we go. Screenshot it. Send it to AOC. Send it to Permalijaya Paul. Do it. They'll completely understand. They didn't even keep my fucking. Never mind. Not worth it. Uh. Can I rotate this entire picture? Please. Canvas. There we go. Hey! This is so much easier than I thought it would be. Wait. I did not mean to do that. What? No. I don't think I need to put that these are years. Minimum wage. There we go. Yeah. Perfect. Saving this masterpiece. See that? Do you see the masterpiece? Do you see how good it is? This is fucking phenomenal. Minimum wage plans projections. There. was perfect. Hey, I get that shit out of here. That was beautifully done, and you know it. All right. So, uh, Congress needs to get on that shit. But we do. We honestly need to get. We need to get the progressives to be pushing forward more uh, uh, ambitious legislation. I think this is the perfect time to start doing this. Okay, so they've got more leverage right now than they've ever had, even more than the Nancy Pelosi Speaker of the House situation. They've got the ability to hold up some of the most major pieces of legislation that's possible, unless they can get some concessions on some shit. All right, being able to get a floor vote on minimum wage, that shouldn't even require any political capital. However, getting one on a 2027, that can start negotiations. But going with the plan, you know, going with the plan. If you go with the sandwich pants plan, this red line right here, it goes up by 2025. You're at around 20. You're at like 18 something dollars an hour. By 2028, you could be at around $27 an hour. But by 2027, you're definitely at 25. Like, you need to be at 25 by 2027. I don't know how to make graphs in anything else. I'm a paint kind of, like, I don't. I draw all my own thumbnails and everything. But I think that would be a really solid plan. And then, on top of that, okay, this one's actually really important, and it'll be a totally different segment. But Congress needs to start working on this. They need to do better. Overall, a lot of them do. I do agree that AOC has been a little too lenient with Biden on some things. I'll cop to that. I'll straight up admit it. Yeah, I think she has been a little too comfortable with the position. But I recognize that there's a time and place for fight, and that she has a better political strategist at her back, as well as her own political instincts that are pretty solid. However, I think that there's ways that she could be utilizing her power a little bit better. Not just AOC, but every progressive in Congress. Every Democrat in Congress could be doing better as well, but that's a wholly different situation. Actually, nah. Let's round this segment out. Alright, this segment is important in some ways. So get this. We have, right now, a supermajority. I mean, we're tied in the Senate, but we have a tiebreaker, which is Kamala Harris, and if she didn't break a tie that was a Democrat bill, what that would be looked upon very negatively. So, we essentially have the supermajority by very slim margins, but we do. So, instead of sitting back and not pushing forth ambitious legislation to try and help the people of America, they seem to be like they should be doing the opposite of that and pushing forth the legislation. They seem to be just sitting back and going, "Oh, I don't know. We need to reach out and we need to do the bipartisanship." Why? Why? Western. Oh, wait. Okay. So, yeah, Western. I want it to look cool though. So, there's got to be a better way to do this. There, we'll do ink free. Size 14 font. Actually, let's put the title at size 24 font. Boom. Format, font, 14. Boom. No. Okay, whatever. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Why am I using... I have Microsoft Word. Whatever. I like Notepad. Alright. Okay. Food waste is roughly 30, 40% of the food supply. Not profitable to feed everyone. Yep. In the United States, food waste is estimated about 30 to 40% of the food supply. This estimate is based on estimates of 31% of food loss at retail and consumer levels. %. At wait, what was it? Retail and consumer levels. Which means the rest of it as at the every stage of production and supply chain. Yep. Between the farm gate and retail stages, food loss can arise from problems during drying, milling, transporting, and processing that expose food to damage by insects, rodents, birds, molds, and bacteria. At the retail level, equipment malfunction, such as faulty cold storage, over-ordering, and culling of blemished produce can result in a food loss. Consumers also contribute to food loss when they buy or cook more than they need to and throw out the extras. This is true. So, what we can do is, other things, losses at every stage of supply production. Spoilages, broken refrigeration units. Actually, we'll just put, yeah, faulty equipment. Faulty equipment. Exposure to pests, mold, etc. Oh no, 218.9 pounds of food waste. Nah. No. What? Of course. So reduce the amount of food we produce. No. Okay. Okay. So, let's do this. Things not to do. Reduce food production. Throw out less desirable looking produce. And that's important because some produce and shit just looks a little off. That is perfectly fine. It just doesn't look as good. It doesn't look perfect. Uh, that's about it. Things to do. Feed hungry people. Make food free. Feed animals. Compost excess okay. Make food free. Now, how to do that? Methods of making food free. Well, not methods, but steps of making food free. So, what you can do is in a temporary stage. So, we're under capitalism. We've got a state. We're not in an anarchist utopia. So we need to try and manage to wield the state for good until we can abolish it. Because we've done the work that's needed, right? Pragmatism. So what's important here is steps of making food free. We can have taxes pay for food production instead of markets. Have states pay grocery store employees for stocking. Make food easily, well, make food free. Put some limits on high demand items. So, for example, only 2 per customer allowed, as an example. So, I think if we just had food paid for through and through, that'd be better. Alright? Save as food free. There we go. Food free. Yay! So this is very simple basic steps that I think we could take. This is some stupid shit right here. This dumb. Most preferred source reduction, of course. Now, why would I can actually. I wonder why they would recommend that we have a source reduction. It says wealth and stuff here, but in the econ textbook that I was reading, economics is the study of scarcity. Yeah, scarcity. Economics is based on the understanding of scarcity, and when we have conquered scarcity, like we have enough resources, we produce enough food to support 10 billion people on this planet. Even if we fed every single person wonderfully on as we have it, the way we have, we would still be wasting about 3 billion people's worth of food at our current production. So I can understand a little bit, maybe, but I don't think so. No. Because there are other things you can do other than reduce the amount you're producing, because you can use it in other ways. Because animal feeds and shit, there you go. You've got more grains that things can eat. Cows actually do really well after eating like barley and hops that have been sifted out of uh, beer being brewed. It's actually good for them from things I've seen. So there's a lot we can do. And no, I'm not a vegan. I'm sorry, I can never give up my cheese. I can reduce my meat consumption. I can reduce my milk consumption, but I can't do it without cheese. Nope. Nope. Not happening. Not happening. But as a general rule, yeah, I think that you take this and you move it down here to just above incineration or landfill. And then this chart is more agreeable. Industrial uses, I mean, corn and stuff has industrial uses, but I don't know what you would do with other foods. Unless they're no, surely they're not counting like restaurants. But yeah, I think this is a thing. Make general amounts of food like that. Boom. How would the restaurant industry fare under this? Decommodification, soup kitchen type shit. People can have food. Restaurants wouldn't need to be a thing, honestly. Which I know really jeopardizes my particular job, but that's how you know I'm not a grifter on this. Okay? My job would be at risk if we decommodified food, and I want it. I already made a video about this. So, oh shit, this all rolled into one. Okay, well, I guess we're doing a double video. Yay, big segment. Not exactly what I'd hoped for. Alright, yep. That's about right. I kind of expected that. But no, I don't. I don't know. It has been over an hour. Been here for an hour and 43 minutes. I have no concurrent viewers, but I do have 3 playbacks. Alright. Hooray. Thank you, old chap. One concurrent viewer. People keep filtering in. But I've been here for an hour and 40 minutes, and I feel like I am ready to leave. Mostly because I am very hungry. But I suppose I could wait a little bit longer. You know what? We'll go until 6:30. I know I just started, like, not that long ago. Ugh. Jimmy door. I don't understand. I really don't. We up for a little bit of a little to go over? That's just fun for me. I want to go ahead and go over these real quick with everybody. This is some. This is just a super justification around 300 to 500, and then other shit happened. A lot of shit happened in between. I kind of glossed over that because I wanted more relevant stuff for North Korea. Now, there was a lot that happened in between there. At least not there. I assume there was a lot. There's not a lot detailed between 500 and like I think 1400, 1300, somewhere around there. Not that I saw and quick Wikipedia research on that, but I did check sources for the stuff that I was looking over here. These are just notes, highlights of the research. So, we got 1910, Japan annexed Korea, First Sino-Japanese War, the Russian Empire and the Empire of Japan fought the Russo-Japanese War during 1904 and 1905 over rival imperial ambitions in Manchuria and Korea. Yep. Major theaters of military operations were in the Liaodong Peninsula and Mukden in southern Manchuria, and the seas around Korea, Japan, and the LOC. Kim Il-sung led communist guerrilla troops. After the fall of Imperial Japan in 1948, Korea split in two. USSR occupied northern, USA occupied southern. Both claimed to be legit governments in the entire peninsula. Kim Il-sung founded the country of North Korea, or the DPRK, Democratic People's Republic of Korea, September 9th, 1948, under the Jichu ideology and Songun. Jeju uprising crushed, which was a workers' general strike for around a year. It was crushed violently. Ambassador Terentij Shtaikov and Kim Il-sung lobbied Stalin to support a quick war against the South. Korea started Korean War, around 3 million dead, armistice signed. Now, fun thing about here is Stalin actually fought back against this for a little while, against going to war, because he was worried about America protecting South Korea. And Shtaikov was like, nah, they wouldn't protect them, and so managed to convince Stalin to do the Korean War. Essentially. America wasn't completely innocent in this, at all. But this is just, a very brief overview of, Shtaikov, because he was a very interesting fellow. Looking into it, there's a lot of sources about Shtaikov and Kim Il-sung in regards to this. Lot of sources. Relatives peace interspersed with border skirmishes, abductions, assassination attempts. I just put 2 here, really, under this. And then August faction incident, attempted overthrow of Kim Il-sung by Soviet-Chinese involvement, which was interesting. The famine of 1954-1955, local officials exaggerated size of harvest, and this is because they were worried about getting reprimanded. And a lot of people died between all these famines and shit. And then you got George W. Bush doing stupid shit. Condoleezza Rice was involved here. Or no, I'm sorry. 2006? Yes. The first, 2001 onward? No. Up until his first term? No. It was, Colin Powell. Juche is self-determination for self-nation, economic self-sufficiency, military self-reliance, independent foreign policy. Sungun is a military-first policy. Uh, 10 principles of the one ideology system. Cult of personality shit. I just broke that down because I literally just read through the tenets of it, and it's about it's like developing cult of personality for Kim Il Sung. Workers' Party of Korea is the main party. They have two satellite organizations: Korean Social Democrat Party and Chondoist Chongu Party. Both participate in Democratic Front for the Reunification of the Fatherland, led by the Workers' Party of Korea. All party leaders required to be members of the Democratic Front for the Reunification of the Fatherland, which is a thing. And then the General Secretary is Kim Jong-un, and the President of the State Affairs Commission is Kim Jong-un, and the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces is Kim Jong-un, and all three major positions are held by one person. Elections are held with hand-picked candidates by the WPK for each satellite org and for the WPK. No chance for dissent or opposition. Voters don't actually determine anything. Their elections are frauds. And then there's all these human rights abuses that are laid forth by Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, the UN, and North Korea's like, no, we've never done any of those. And then as far as their economy goes, they abandoned planning because planning is bad and dumb. It's as the people seem to be saying right now, it is soy and Reddit. It's soy and Reddit, which I mean, whatever. I don't understand this one. It's dumb. Like, it's literally just, it's bad. It doesn't work. People who perpetuate the idea that planned economies will work. No, not a fully planned economy. Not even a mostly planned economy, I don't think. There would have to be like every 2 years you would open up a market to make sure that so that you can figure out if the allocation of resources is done properly. Now, here's the thing that I want to point out. They were doing these planning things until 1993 when they declared the last 7-year plan a failure. And then they made changes to markets. And people say, okay, people are like, the DPRK is totally communist. 100% communist. Okay, well, they have markets. So if you're arguing that they're communist, you have to admit that markets are available to socialists and communists. They established trade routes, which, yeah, that's good. Majority of women in private trade. Wait, hold on. Private trade. Hold on. Individual people owning individual businesses, engaging in private trade. Is that socialist? Is that socialist? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, my understanding of socialism is that you have, like, the workers controlling the places that they work at, worker-owned means of production. A democracy at work, if you will. So there's not really private trade. I mean, depending on how they're putting it, but I'm pretty sure it's like private businesses, because they got private businesses. Men are required to be at state-owned workstations, even if unoperational, and that's why I think that, because these were placed against each other. Mostly women in private trade, men are to be at state-owned workstations, which doesn't mean that they're doing public trade versus private trade, with something being publicly traded as opposed to that's not even a thing. So private trade, individual businesses being owned by individual people for profit, mostly women in this case, which, women's rights, but not bougie rights. And they still have a shit infrastructure, but so do we. Here in America, where you have absolutely no good roads, not consistently, and it takes for fucking ever to build them. So, overall, what I've come to the conclusion of is the DPRK is not democratic. It is also not socialist. That's the assessment, right? You kind of look over everything that's here, Well, I mean, you can corroborate it. You just literally look up North Korea on Wikipedia, and then you can get all this information, like all of it. And you can check their sources too. I did. I checked a lot of sources. Checked to make sure that they were even there. Like some of them aren't available now because website hosting and shit. But sources that are there, I looked through a decent amount and kind of confirmed, especially the one about the Stovsky one, because I wanted to make sure that this wasn't like huge Western propaganda, but it was corroborated by like Russian sources and Chinese sources and Korean sources. So it's a thing. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Seems pretty capitalist to me, especially now. Like it was okay. I'll give it. I'll give it this. All right, they were making attempts at planning because I mean, there. If you don't read Marx thoroughly and try and do some actual interpretations, it does seem like he will only tell you that you have to do planned economies. But if you're not dumb and you also you look at historical trends and you recognize how things are, you recognize that planned economies have never worked. Ever. Not a single time. They've had short periods of planning under extreme conditions. But the US has done that. Capitalists have done that. Utilizing plans to get something done. Look at World War II. We kind of did it. So you can't tell me that a planned economy makes a socialist country, okay? It doesn't. A planned economy has almost nothing to do with being a socialist country, except for the fact that Marx talked about planned economies, which Marx isn't right about literally everything. I hate to tell you this, but Marx was not right about everything. I'd give him 90%, 95% maybe, but not everything. Planned economies? Garbage, okay? Also, not inherently socialist. It's not what makes socialism. Socialism has two main components. The big one being the abolition of private property and having workers own the places that they work at, owning the means of production. That's the big one. Everybody has a say. All right? Democracy at work. Wake up. Guess what doesn't happen in North Korea? Guess what doesn't happen in fucking China right now? Guess what didn't happen in the USSR is any of that. None of that happened. Okay? We'll be getting to that in a little while. Like, my brain doesn't want to handle right now going over all the Russia, USSR economics and history and politics and everything like that. I've done it before, and it's very dense. And it does, if you look into some stuff, they did lay out that they were going to have some like democracy and workers' councils and shit like that. Lenin had actually planned for this to be a thing. Lenin actually, like, his theories were being carried out. Again, Lenin himself had different prescriptions for different fucking countries. So you can't just take what he said to do in Russia and apply it to goddamn America. Keep that in mind. Please, please, please. You can't just read what he said in like State and Revolution and be like, oh yeah, we have to do this here in America, 100%. A, material circumstances are way fucking different. B, that would only work at that time frame in that country. The prescriptions that Lenin made. All right, so we can't just run those. You have to tailor it to where you're at, which is why Lenin told British people to vote for the Labour Party, even though they weren't even they weren't really even socialist at the time. Face it, they were not a revolutionary, like, forceful party. That's not what they were. Some people have even argued that they were, like, I've heard arguments that they were even just social democrats, the Labour Party, when Lenin was telling people to vote for them. And why is that? Well, because they were up against fascism. It was the best party for the people at the time. So they kind of did. They went ahead and voted for him. Because Lenin knew, hey, you don't have a good fighting ground to get to socialism if you're in fascism. That's when it has to be violent, is if you're in fascism or you're in feudalism. And guess what? Tsarist Russia was a feudalist fucking country. I just get really tired of people talking about Lenin and trying to just tell people, oh, you need to read theory. Oh, you need to read theory. Motherfucker, for one, I've seen your posts on Twitter. You said that the way that you're put into your class in a Marxist sense is if you're rich. No, dumb fuck. Engels was rich. He was a socialist. He didn't own the means of production. Actually, I think he was a factory owner, but that was the point. You're not bourgeoisie. Just because you're rich. It's not how it works. I don't even say this to be defensive. I don't have money. I can't afford a webcam. That's why this is all you see, is because I don't. What is a webcam? How much does that cost? What do you? Especially a decent one? Like, nah, I'm broke. All right. Oh my god. But please, please, actually put some analysis into your reading of theory, because I've read a decent amount, anarchist and communist theory. So, I mean, I get some of the authors muddling shit because I'm absorbing the concepts and trying to understand like what their argument is and the logic that they use to get there. As I explained with Lenin, that's kind of his thing. Marx is very similar in that regard. Marx admits that you have to keep liberal bougie democracy around if you're to be able to have a good foothold to fight for socialism. You can't let it fall to some far right kind of authoritarian dictatorship of any kind. You just can't let it fall to a dictatorship, otherwise you don't have the ground to fight on. Liberal bougie democracy is the best fighting ground for socialism. You are more likely to get people into socialism if you do this. Social democracy counts. You still want people to be able to vote for things. Marx was pretty big on the democracy angle, you know? I don't know why other people wouldn't be. Doesn't make sense to me. You know who else was a big fan of trying to get things done through electoralism? They used multiple fronts that they came at things with, but they also engaged in electoralism. And it was, like members of the Black Panther Party, Angela Davis. Very much so. Who else advocates for using liberal democracies to try and push socialism? Noam Chomsky, anarchist philosopher, like linguist and shit. Yeah, Chomsky, love the dude. There's a lot that we need to do while we're here, okay? We can't check out, because that gives the right more power. When the left doesn't participate, the right always does. They're always at those elections. Always. Look at the Biden election. I want it to be understood that people really don't. People will come in bad faith around election times, and if you are a leftist and you are advocating for a candidate, you mention a candidate, especially if you their candidate, like the perfect one is the Bernie or bust shit. If you mention, hey, Bernie, he got screwed, he didn't win, this sucks, but we still have to participate. We need to vote for Joe Biden. We can't allow Trump another term. This, it's just not good. We can't allow him in there. Biden won't be much better, but he will be better. This is a harm reduction move. I think it will be better for the average person. I think he will do better as far as racial issues go. I think he will just be better. Lefties cancel the fuck out of you for that. They just check out. They're like, nope, nope. Also, you're no longer a leftist because you're participating in bougie electoralism. Well, motherfucker, you were just talking about voting for Bernie Sanders. And what the hell was he going to be able to do about bougie electoralism? Nothing? Well, he's at least a socialist. And he lost, okay? So what are you going to do? Are you going to vote for the fucking neoliberal, horrible, this ghoul? Are you going to vote for the neoliberal? Or are you going to vote for the fucking proto-fascist? The neoliberal isn't much better, but it is better. It is a harm reduction, okay? That's a concept that lefties really seem to check out on whenever their guy loses. Their candidate loses. They're like, oh, Bernie he lost. Or fucking whoever next time. If like, what was her name? Angela Walker, the Green Party candidate, vice presidential candidate. If she runs and she loses, oh, well, bougie electoralism. Even if that candidate, if the Green Party, like the socialist candidate, came out and was like, you need to vote for this person, please. We can't let X person win. You know, Ivanka Trump, we cannot let her win. You need to vote for this person. Fucking. Oh, God. Kirsten Sinema versus Ivanka Trump. I see it in the future. I do. I do. And they'll just be trying to play off the... See, and it'll be the thing, because Ivanka will run to try and throw everybody for the loop and be like, yeah, that's right, a woman president in the Republican Party. And they'll throw Kirsten Sinema up there because she's slightly to the left of Ivanka Trump. Probably. And she's also a woman. So that there's not claims of misogyny on the Democrats' part because they put a man up against a woman. Although that's just some id-poll shit. But I guarantee they would do it because that's just how the Democrats operate. They would find literally one of the worst people that they could possibly put up to bat. And then just push and hope that they lose. Because the Democrats don't want to fucking work. What do you mean? They can fundraise off of the bad performance off of a Republican. Why would they want to do anything? That sucks. But no. No. Democrats have to do things. They need to win. Because, I mean, yeah, they're doing the low expectations thing, which, in a personal sense, is good. You know? Have the low expectations. That way, when you actually do something, people are surprised. Like, oh. But, if you are a politician, if you're a political party, your whole job is to do things. And if you're supposed to be the party of, like, the people, the working class, the people who need to, you know, actually do things instead of the investors and the bankers and the large businesses, the way that the Republican Party generally operates. I mean, come on. Come on. We can do better. You need to work. You're supposed to be the party of the worker, and you're not actually doing it. And this is very disappointing to me. The Democrats are ineffectual. They're weak. And we need to make the party itself stronger with more lefties that want to fight. Politically, that is. Not fist fighties. Don't get into the fist fighties. You shouldn't do that. Not in the halls of Congress. It doesn't do a whole lot. Unless your opponent's a Nazi. Beat their ass. Anyways, the hope here is that A, we can get more lefties elected into Congress, whether we do it through the Democratic Party or we do it through a third party. The best case scenario is that you are taking out Republican candidates with Green Party candidates, like socialists. You can get some socialists, you can get some anarchists, which, I mean, socialist is probably not the best word to use. You can get some communists or you can get some anarchists in there. I do not know a whole lot about mutualism, communalism. I don't like participatory economics. So you just get some, like, generally good lefties running in the Green Party, and you take out Republican candidates. They're running, they fail. The Green Party takes them. You've added a third party to Congress. They can caucus with Democrats on some things, but they could be they should be a strong opposition. So if you can take away, like, 40 overall Republican seats and say 15 of them go to Green Party, that's not a whole lot. Until AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, they consult their constituents and they go, would you vote for me again if I didn't run as a Democrat but I ran as a Green Party candidate? Yeah? Okay. Green Party. Then the Dems are starting to get a little bit weaker. You can remove some of their seats and put them over into the Green Party. I think that's a very powerful way to go about it. Probably one of the smarter ways, too. Alternatively, we can just get more lefties elected into the Democrats, and if we get wave after wave after wave of, every single midterm election, every single election, every time one of the people that is in office is up to vote, we put a lefty in that place. Plop, 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 plop. Einhoff, out. Cinema, out. Manchin, out. Lankford, out. I don't know a whole lot of the other. Lindsey Graham, out. Cruz, out. Lefty, 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 lefty. That's when we can really. That's when the blows come. The political blows. Just, $25 an hour for a minimum wage by 2027. Totally feasible, I'm pretty sure. Medicare for all. Green New Deal. Every policy that's in there, just new infrastructure bills that improve our bridges and shit and make public transport flawless and helps invest in nuclear powered cars or whatever. Other lefty decommodification of food. There we go. Yeah, decommodification and then it just steamrolls, and by like 2048, the government is all socialist. There's not a single conservative in the government. Everybody there is a lefty. Everybody there agrees. We've managed to change the public's psychology so much. We've allowed the global south to develop into a fully autonomous socialist region. They're a trading bloc. Our influence is so pervasive that we've ousted people like Putin and the CCP as a ruling party and had them become actual fucking communists. And so that starts moving, and then they've got the trading blocks that China can have, and that the Middle East could have, and that Latin America could have, and then the U.S. can have its trading with other people, and then we just and everything works, and then yeah, I know it's a bit of idealistic, and I stuttered through a lot of that because I don't fucking know. Um, but if we get the United States to move left enough, then it could detooth the military-industrial complex. It could start removing the power out of the hands of larger corporations. They could stop like going and doing coups and having enough influence here that they could influence other fucking countries, and eventually that right there allows for socialism in the global south to develop. So you've got like Cuba getting the sanctions lifted and shit like that so that it can actually really thrive, because it's, from everything that I've been able to determine, talking to some people from Cuba, talking to some people that live in Cuba, talking to leftists and conservatives, and looking at different research on their standards of living and shit like that, Cuba's doing pretty good. It's not phenomenal, it's not a paradise, it's not perfect. There's definitely some problems there. Don't don't just read an article that's like, "Oh, hey, Cuba's wonderful and we're amazing." There's some issues that go on in Cuba, but overall, they're doing all right. And if we removed the sanctions and the embargo and shit like that that we had on Cuba, boom. Same thing with Venezuela, boom. That's my hope. That's my goal. I want to make these institutions weak enough and distracted enough they can't interfere in global affairs like that. Make it undesirable as well. They don't need to do that. Why? Why? Hmm. This doesn't make any sense to me. It's saying that it can't display anything. Oh well. I'm wrapping up as it is, so I hope you all have a great night. I'm gonna get some food and enjoy. If you liked it, leave a like, comment. Whenever it gets uploaded, you can comment. You can drop something in the live chat. Whatever, doesn't matter. And I really do hope that you all enjoy your day, your night, whatever it is. Take care of yourselves and subscribe.